Today's story isn't just about a missing person. It's about control, secrets, and a sister's relentless pursuit of justice. This is the tragic case of Alissa Turney, a bright, witty, 17-year-old girl who vanished in 2001 from Phoenix, Arizona. For years, her disappearance was dismissed as a runaway case. But the truth, as it would slowly unravel, was much darker and much closer to home than anyone wanted to believe. Let's go back to May 17, 2001. It was the last day of school for students at Paradise Valley High. Alissa Turney was looking forward to summer. She had plans. She talked about getting a job, going to parties, and hanging out with her friends. She was just like any other teenager. But that afternoon, something strange happened. Her stepfather, Michael Turney, picked her up from school early. According to him, they went out to lunch. They got into an argument. Nothing serious, he said. Just normal teen-parent tension. After they got home, he claimed Alissa stormed off to her room, slammed the door, and that was the last time he saw her. Hours later, Michael says he found a note in Alissa's bedroom. It read that she was running away to California to live with her biological father, a man who had been absent for most of her life. The note didn't mention any friends or any specific plans. It didn't even sound like her, according to her family. Still, Michael told police he didn't think she was in danger. He said she had run away. The police took him at his word. No Amber Alert, no extensive search, no forensic investigation of the home. But here's where the story begins to fracture. Alissa didn't take her purse. She left behind her cell phone. She left behind her clothes. Her friends said she had made no mention of running away. No goodbyes, no signs of distress. But the most disturbing part? No one heard from her again. Ever. Let's talk about Michael Turney. He was Alissa's legal guardian since she was a child, a former law enforcement officer. On the surface, he was just a strict father, but beneath that, something much more disturbing was brewing. Michael kept detailed surveillance inside the family home. He had wired the house with hidden cameras and microphones. He recorded nearly every phone call that came in or out. He kept journals, logs, VHS tapes, and disturbingly, he filmed Alissa constantly, often without her knowledge. He claimed it was to keep her safe. But some of these recordings hinted at something darker. Alissa had confided in friends and even teachers that her stepfather was controlling, even creepy. She once told a teacher he'd tried to sexually assault her. But when Child Protective Services interviewed her, she retracted the claim, seemingly out of fear. Still, none of this was followed up seriously after her disappearance. Years passed. The case grew cold. Michael never moved. He never changed his story. And Alissa's voice was almost completely lost, except for one person who refused to let it go. Her younger half-sister, Sarah Turney. Sarah was only 12 when Alissa disappeared. For years, she believed her father. After all, he raised her. But as she grew older, she started to ask questions. And what she discovered turned her world upside down. Sarah began digging through old files, old tapes, old letters. She contacted witnesses. She read the case file. And what she found was damning. Her own father's stories didn't add up. Evidence had been ignored. Leads had never been followed. It became clear to Sarah that Michael Turney wasn't telling the full truth. And so she went public. In 2019 and 2020, Sarah Turney began using social media to raise awareness. She launched a podcast. She posted on TikTok. Her videos went viral. Millions of people learned about Alissa's case for the first time. And finally, the attention worked. In August 2020, nearly 19 years after Alissa vanished, Michael Turney was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The arrest was shocking to the public, but not to Sarah. Investigators had searched Michael's home back in 2008 and made a terrifying discovery: 26 homemade pipe bombs, hundreds of pages of writings detailing paranoia, surveillance, and revenge, a manifesto outlining a planned attack against the local electrical workers union, a group he irrationally blamed for Alissa's supposed disappearance. Authorities called it a domestic terror plot, and in the middle of it all, there was still Alissa, missing, silent. When the murder trial finally came in 2023, Sarah hoped for justice. But what happened next would crush her, and many who had followed the case. Despite the circumstantial evidence, despite the years of abuse, control, and manipulation, the judge dismissed the charges. There was no body, no weapon, no confession, no direct forensic evidence linking Michael Turney to a murder. And in our justice system, that often means no accountability. Michael Turney walked free. Today, Sarah continues to speak out. She still shares Alissa's story. She advocates for other missing persons, for justice reform, for victims who don't have a voice. And through her, Alissa's memory endures. Alissa Turney was just 17. She had dreams, she had fears, she had a future. And one afternoon in May 2001, that future was stolen. Whether or not the justice system ever catches up, one thing is certain: Alissa will never be forgotten because her sister refused to be silent. This was the case of Alissa Turney. If you believe her story deserves to be heard, share this video. Subscribe for more true crime stories that shine a light on the cases that still demand answers. And remember, silence protects no one.